morning. My project is called differentiating instruction as an intervention in the EFL reading comprehension process in elementary schoolers at the Nuevo Gimnasio Cristiano. My name is Andrea Marisol Garcia Osorio, and I'm going to introduce what this research has been about. Well, as an introduction, we have that the term differentiation makes reference to modifications or some changes teachers are able to do in terms of content, learning goals, tasks, activities, and time of execution during the learning process. On one hand, differentiated instruction means to monitor, diagnose, and assess students' learning based on their abilities, interests, needs, difficulties, or some different skills they count on. So it's meant to really know the students, make empathy with them among classes in order to do that differentiation. Also, the research will introduce the reader in order to be capable of generating strategies and challenges during the classroom. In the problem statement, we have that implementing differentiated instruction would make students feel more productive, feel comfortable with learning and with the social environment in order to make them produce clear ideas, clear results, and feel comfortable during assessment and avoiding the frustration and anxiety feeling during the learning process. Besides, the purpose of this study is to improve reading learning comprehension by improving the vocabulary learning in making some interventions with the students that really need to be or to dedicate more time to learning. In research question, we have that differentiated how differentiated instruction might improve, affect, or make comprehensible the process of EFL reading comprehension at the Nuevo Gimnasio Cristiano. In the research objectives, we have that we need to identify the challenges and successes of implementing differentiated instruction at the NGC. At second, we have how teacher will react by implementing differentiated instruction with learners that have some needs. And finally, identify the strategies that a teacher can implement during learning reading, but in a differentiating way. As a theoretical framework, I have two principal statements. They are reading EFL and differentiation. In reading EFL, I have some of the references are Mukhopadhyay defining what reading comprehension means as a challenge for foreign learners, and in another way we have Goal 2002 by explaining how the EFL reading and listening comprehension should be. So in this phase or stage we have two areas, and is the comprehensible way of understanding English and the productive English. So learning a language is divided into areas: understanding, comprehending, and then producing. In comprehending we have listening and reading, and in production we have writing and speaking. So according to that, if we have comprehensible input in listening and reading, it's going to be so much easier to have a production in that language, for in this case English learning. Okay, in the other hand, we have differentiation as a way for diagnosing, monitoring, assessing, comprehend time, and monitor skills in learning with students that could have special needs because of some learning difficulties, or also some students that get stuck with because definitely they are not interested in that topic. Okay, the research was developed at the nuevo Gimnasio Cristiano. This is a school, a bilingual school in Kota, Cundinamarca. The participants were first graders, 16 first graders, children, boys and girls, with the English teacher. In this case, it was me. It was 2 years ago. The research paradigm was a qualitative process, and specifically action research, taking into account that we always work with population that is in a constant change and evolution, or just changes. As an instrument, I applied a survey focused on learning styles and students' preferences in order to know what they were interested in. And at second, we have an interview made to two teachers from the school that they work also in the learning center. She or they are the occupational therapist and the phonoaudiologist. In data analysis, I applied a grounded approach by having a triangulation in those information, and finally finishing by having some categories, like that we will know forward. In the pedagogical intervention, I have some tools that I apply in order to know the level of comprehension in reading and how they could improve, produce the way they produce reading, or the way they understand a story. So I had some templates in order to analyze how they could like identify the beginning, the middle, and the ending of a story, the characters, the setting, and all the elements of a story. Here we have some of the examples in those pictures. What they have to do, it was organizing the text or the story in the way they wanna tell the story to others, and write the main idea of every single part. Though that part helped a lot children in order to improve the vocabulary, practice on vocabulary, and also be repeating all the time until they understand the sense of the word. Then, as a data analysis and interpretation, I have four categories: the visual, the kinesthetic, the auditive, and the linguistic. So in here we begin with the visual category. Those are questions that the researcher regrouped in order to understand what were the preferences. So here we have that kids prefer to study with visual support, but during classes. And in auditive, they prefer to produce sounds or to repeat or practice sounds, but when they are alone or not in a formal way of assessment. Um, then in a linguistic category, they prefer to be speaking but outside the classroom. So they really like to practice, but when they are not in a formal way of assessment. And in the kinesthetic way, there are, well, most of the class are girls, so they really love to speak, to interact with others, and five are kids. So because of that, we have like also that item to take it into account in order to identify why were the preferences. In the interview with teachers, we have some strategies that they think we can apply in order to have a differentiation in the classroom and make students to have success during the development of the curriculum proposed at the beginning of the year or at the beginning of the term. Then we have the survey of students that led the researchers to identify learning style preferences, interest in learning English as a foreign language. It's, well, students' background, if they are already taken any course of English, or if they just are exposed to English at the school, and also what they like to do during classes and outside the classes. So in those findings, we have that teacher depends on parent support and routines established at home. Teachers must take into account the curriculum and what she expects from students in order to clarify what we expect in the student's process. Also, during planning a lesson, it's really important to create well, I forgot the word for that, but anyway, in order to rubric, in order to assess children step by step, and that they know what has been their success and like the goal for keeping improving into the learning of process. Also, we have that the teacher would have a match into the input and the output, and being giving feedback all the time in order to make the student feel comfortable. And during differentiation, it's really important to be constantly assessing a quantitative and qualitative form in order to have the whole result of the process. In conclusions, we have found that teachers' interest and skill difficulties are important because differentiation means to take or to spend more time with every single student. So it is necessary that when we are going to differentiate, we have a plan or we communicate the school in order to not get charged by like having the time for making that process real and that happen, and that the teacher don't feel stuck because of time. We need small groups. Also, it is necessary to have clear objectives and make every class is gonna take longer. So clarify how long time I'm gonna spend with every single kid and the process. Not fixing or standardizing a lesson or content proposed, because everything is gonna vary according to the children's skills and their behavior or the factors they count on during a classroom. Finally, we have that teachers have to count on many strategies based on learning styles for creating many styles in environment that lead to work in groups, to work individually, or to work in different ways, but respecting the every kid process. In action plan, we have always teachers being diagnosing, differentiating, and assessing processes, and taking into account the curriculum. The curriculum is really standardized, but we have to take in mind that it's important to take those standards and make them easier for children to achieve them and succeed. Thank you so much.